Good morning, everyone. Dan Bates, President and CEO of the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, and we are glad you could join us today for another episode of Coffee and Conversations. So this morning, you'll hear from our guest speaker in just a minute. Scott Alverson is the Group Benefits Consultant with Saxon. Saxon is one of the vendors that handles the Chamber benefits. So this time of the year, everybody should be thinking about their healthcare benefits and what it's going to cost them. And so you're going to find out what the Chamber has in its group. I'm just going to throw a plug, so maybe you'll pay more attention to Scott. We just had a new member join because they're going to, by being a Chamber member and spending, I think their membership is $500 a year, they're going to be saving $100,000 a year on their healthcare premiums. So it can be done. Too good to be true? Not really. So I'm Dan Bates. We're going to find out who all of you are in a minute. Let me tell you the protocols. We are on Zoom, obviously. If you want to ask questions of Scott during his presentation, you can either raise your hand, put it in the chat box, or I'm sure he's okay if you just interrupt him. If you are on Facebook Live, you need to type those questions into Laura, and Laura will repeat them to the speaker so they get answered. This will then be put on our YouTube channel after today. And so if you want to follow up or share it with somebody, you can do that as well. So with that being said, let's start with you, Jill, self-introductions.
Good morning. I'm Jill Cates with Easter Sales Redwood in Workforce Development.
Ben, let's do you next.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Ben Cornish with First Financial Bank, Community Outreach and Financial Wellness Advisor.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Megan.
Pleasure.
Hi, I'm Megan Morris, marriage and family therapist with Hope and Restoration Counseling.
Okay, wonderful. And Kyle.
Hi there, my name is Kyle Spear. I'm an agent with New York Life and kind of financial advisor and everything involved in financial planning.
Kyle's one of our newer members. So thank you all for joining us. Laura, I'm going to turn it back to you. Why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll get started.
Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm Laura Merrill with the Greater Hamilton Chamber. Glad to have you all with us today. If you have any questions, type them in the chat, or if you are on Facebook, go ahead and just type them there and we will repeat them to Scott.
Okay, Scott Alverson from Saxon, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dan. And anyone on this call right now, feel free to interrupt anytime. Laura, if you do get questions on the comment section, feel free to interrupt me as well. I want it to be more question and answer instead of me rambling on about health insurance and all the benefits of being a chamber member. So before we get started, I'm going to share my screen very quickly. So here we go. Alrighty. You guys should all be able to see that now.
Yep.
Awesome. So once again, my name is Scott Alverson. I'm with Saxon Financial. I'm a group benefits consultant. I've been in the business about 6 years, a little over 6 years now. And going to talk about how your chamber membership has additional benefits other than meeting great people, being part of your community, but also some potential savings, especially when it comes to health insurance. As Dan mentioned before, there's a new member who's going to be saving over $100,000 a year in premium. Now, that's not every case. It depends on the group size and everything. But with the chamber benefit plan, there are some decent options to save quite a bit of premium. And in today's day and age, any money you can save with keeping some solid group health plans or even getting better plans is going to be a win for everyone, yourself as a business owner and the employees themselves. So it really is a good option. And, being a chamber member gives you inclusivity for this plan. So we'll get started. Just a quick disclosure about the plan. It's up to date as of October 31st, all the fun stuff they make me say and make me show. Here's my information. I'll also have this down at the end. As I mentioned, I've been with Saxon for over 6 years. I'm also filling in for Kelly Bell this morning, who a lot of you may know. She's been very active in the chamber. She will be moving. She's not leaving Saxon, but she's moving to Knoxville, Tennessee as of December 1st. So it is a very quick transition, and I've been thrown into helping her out with this transition. So Kelly Bell has been our representative in Saxon at the Hamilton Chamber, but I'm going to be taking over for that. You can still reach out to Kelly if needed, but I'm going to be the main point of contact for in-person stuff. As I mentioned, I'll have this information with my email and phone number at the end of the presentation. But I'll leave this up for now in case anyone wants to jot it down. A quick kind of overview of what the chamber plan is. So Anthem sponsors a chamber plan through a few different chambers in the Southern Ohio area. That's what the SACA stands for, the Southern Ohio Chamber Alliance. Hamilton is part of SACA, which allows you access to the Anthem benefit plans. Anthem has been offering this plan for about 6 years now, and with over 70,000 members. So it is a very strong pool of employers in their plan, and kind of allows everyone to come together to offer a lower rate for everyone on most cases. I'll get into that to more detail, but I did want to leave this slide up. Saxon is one of the top agents with Anthem for this plan in the state. So we are very familiar with the benefit offerings and what everything entails and the ins and outs. So we don't like to call ourselves an expert on it, but we know it inside and out. So we'll go over a few plan highlights now and a little more of the overview details of what the plan entails. So the plan that Anthem offers is called a MIWA, and what the MIWA stands for is Multiple Employer Welfare Arrangement. So the official name of the plan is the Anthem SACA MIWA. SACA is the chambers that are involved. The MIWA is the plan details. Essentially what the MIWA is grouping a bunch of smaller employers of 2 to 50 employees into a larger pool to receive better rates with underwriting and at renewal time, kind of spread out the risk throughout the entire pool and keep everyone's rates down with keeping strong plans. That's part of the leveraging the purchasing power there for the health benefits. So Anthem has come together with these chambers of commerce and saying, hey, these smaller employers need an option for their benefits. Let's start this plan. So down there at the bottom, you see must have a common bond, and that's where the chamber comes in. Being a chamber member gives you access to these plans with Anthem. Few more specifics that I kind of went over before. Obviously, the Greater Hamilton Chamber is a qualified member. These plans are underwritten by Anthem, so we can get into more detail later. But that's mainly just to spread out the risk within the pool to make sure they're adding the right groups. Offered to 2 to 50 employee size groups. If you are a sole proprietor, you are allowed to enroll in the plan as well. There's additional paperwork, some other stipulations for that, but typically they say it's 2 to 50 employees. With this group plan, it allows for less than 50%. Typically, carriers require 75% participation of eligible employees. This plan will do 50%. Once again, that's part of the benefit of having the larger pool, and waivers are removed from that requirement. So a lot of employers run into not having enough of their employees enroll in the plan. Anthem is starting to get rid of that participation requirement. So the employees who really do need the plan can enroll and select the plan they like. So what's the role of SACA and the chambers in this plan with Anthem? So without getting too much into it, the Department of Insurance tells Anthem they can't sponsor a plan on their own because without getting too much into it, basically they don't want to have adverse selection. They're only picking healthy groups and that's it. So SACA is the trustee of this benefit plan. What they're going to be doing is make sure everything's in compliance, offering state continuation or COBRA benefits to the employees, make sure the plan is governed correctly within the eyes of the Department of Insurance. And then if they do need to make any amendments, whether that's plan design changes or fees, something like that, they'll give proper notice to all the employers within the group. So SACA is really the governing body for the plan. It is just backed by Anthem. So product dues for this, as I mentioned, there's a $2.50 per employee per month due to SACA. That's per employee enrolled on the plan. These dues will pay for admin fees, the COBRA or state continuation, and then make sure the plan's in compliance. I like to bring that up because people always think it's too good to be true. Here are your fees. It's minimal compared to what other people are paying. So before I continue to ramble on, I want to start with a quick question here. The first person to answer it. So Laura, we'll need some assistance on this. People can Google if they want, but the first person to answer it, I will send them a $5 either Starbucks or Dunkin' gift card. So here we go. What is the new IRS limit for health savings account contributions for 2023? And I will be checking chat and the live stream.
Or you're just welcome if you're on to just
Or if
speak it
you're
out
on,
loud.
Google it real quick and blurt it out.
3850.
That is correct. 3850. I believe that was Kyle.
That was.
That was,
I will get your information after this, and I will connect with you and get you your winnings. So yes, 3850 is the went too far. 3850 is the new contribution limit. I like to bring this slide up mainly to show that Anthem doesn't have just certain plan types. I'll get into more of the plan details later, but HSAs are the HSA eligible plans with Anthem are fairly strong, and not many people are aware of what the limits are and how the HSA is beneficial to them. So just a quick little question, doesn't have much to do with what I've talked about yet, but I kind of like to break things up instead of me just going on. Any questions so far? Laura, anyone on the live stream, or keep talking about health insurance because it's
Scott, I don't mean to take you off track, but I've always wondered, why is there even a limit on HSA? I mean, it's your money. And, if somebody has a procedure that is going to leave them holding a $10,000 bill,
Yep.
I don't understand why they can't anticipate that.
Great question. The reason for the limit is because it's a tax-free contribution. So really, they don't want people to play the game and just get on an HSA plan and contribute however much they are able to afford tax-free. So HSA contributions go in pre-tax and they come out tax-free. So it's 100% tax-less dollars. So they don't want people to game the system that sort of way.
So they don't want somebody to load it up and then carry it over year to year.
Yep, because HSAs will stay with you. It's not a use it or lose it. HSA will, those dollars are yours. Even if your company contributes to your HSA for you, those dollars will stay with you. That's your personal account. So they don't want people loading it up with, if you want to get more in depth, if you have enough money in your HSA, you can invest that money as well. So they don't want people to load it up with $100,000, $200,000 tax-free, then grow that investment tax-free as well. So the IRS needs to get theirs at some point, and putting these limits here is their way of kind of putting a hold of that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
and Scott, I've got a question on this. So is this per person?
So yeah, so for the 3850, that is on an individual basis. If you have a family on an HSA eligible plan, the contribution is $7,750 per year.
Good information. Thank you.
If you are over 55 years old, you can contribute an additional 1,000. It's called the catch up. You can contribute an additional $1,000 on top of those. Good questions. Thank you. All right, moving on here. Here's a few of the numbers. So recently we've seen a switch really since post-COVID, people going back to work. A lot of our clients are utilizing the benefit plan to keep and hire new employees. It's been a struggle for a lot of people, and I know people are probably shaking their heads, yes, to keep good employees or hire good employees, people who actually show up. So a lot of these employers are implementing a strong benefits package for that need for retention and hiring. The premiums, I know inflation is a very hot topic right now, and that is not escaping the health insurance world. Premiums have increased quite a bit over the past, these numbers are up to 2020 because we don't have the 2021 numbers yet, but it has jumped more than that. So premiums have increased quite a bit for your average group health plan, and that is, it goes hand in hand with this benefit offering through the chamber. So Anthem is allowing kind of an opportunity to review and take a look at your benefits for you, try to save you on premium with keeping strong plan designs. Individual premium jumped from almost $500 to almost $550 from 2018 to 2020. And I can tell you that number did not go lower from 2020 to now. Family premiums are almost to $1,400. That's quite a bit of money each month as well for these health insurance plans. And I'll get on to some details of what these plans look like, because those aren't, your $250 deductibles. Those are $3,000-$4,000 deductibles. So these premiums are starting to creep up there, along with costs of everything else. And Anthem and a few of the people at SACA are really trying to combat that with this MULA. We also, for the smaller employers of 2 to 10 employees, we're seeing a higher increase in those premium dollars as well, which for the small employer, that's hurting even more. So I have a second question here, which will be more relatable to a lot of people. So first one, again, same rules apply. What is the average individual deductible for a group health plan in 2022? You can say the number or the letter.
Is it option B?
It is. I normally give B or C. It is option B though. Yes. So here is a graph. It's a little small. So option B. So this is of companies in our region, and they call it North Central, but the Great Lakes region, with either an HSA plan or a standard PPO plan. So these results are based off groups of under 100 employees in this region. So hits very close to home. So your average deductible is between that $2,000 and $4,000, the 25 and 20, 45% of your companies will be within that deductible range. That 0 to 99 or 999, I would like to find some of those employers, because 10% is a high number there. We are starting to see more and more of these companies creep up in deductible just to try to keep premiums lower. I like to add this as well for the individual out-of-pocket maximum, the graph right there below it, because that's really one of the, after deductible, that's the next number you're going to want to look at, because the out-of-pocket maximum is going to be your maximum liability for the year. So worst case scenario, major surgery in a hospital, that out-of-pocket maximum is going to be the drop dead number you'll pay for the year. And as you can see, there's one number that jumps out the most at 30%. It's between $6,000 and $7,000 for that max out-of-pocket cost. So while your deductible may be lower than that, the true number that I try to draw people to and let them know is that maximum out-of-pocket is what they want to look at. Any questions on these, or what numbers we're trending to see for next year? Must be doing a fantastic job, or it's just no one has had enough coffee yet. All right, I will move on here. A little bit about how the plan works and Saxon's role with the plan. So Anthem has partnered with an online enrollment system called FormFire. So I mentioned that these plans are required to be medically underwritten by Anthem. That's where FormFire comes in. So say you did want to take a look and see what these rates would be for your group, contact me. I'd set everything up. I'd meetings with the employees, and I'd walk them through how to complete FormFire so we can finalize those underwritten rates. I like to put this line down in here. Make sure you have a broker who is well versed in form fire. Form fire it's a love-hate relationship. It is not the easiest to complete, but it is a necessary evil for some of these companies who are looking to save on premium and, you know, increase the benefit offering to their employees. So the form fire process takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and it'll ask you for medical history. It's a 5-year look back, so I don't need broke your arm 20 years ago. It's funny, some people will put a lot more information than needed, but which is always a good thing. I'd rather have more than less, but it's a 5-year look back. And then it'll ask for prescriptions as well. Prescriptions are starting to be one of the main drivers of healthcare costs. So being a smart shopper with your prescriptions as well can save quite a bit on premiums. EFT is required for all premium payments. If you do enroll in the plan, it is technically a self-insured pool, but you're not self-insuring the plan. Anthem as a whole, the MIWA is self-insured, but as I mentioned, there's over 70,000 members. You're not self-insuring it. It acts as a fully insured plan to the employees and to yourself as the employer. It will be a fully insured plan, but they require EFT to make sure that payment is on time each month. There are common renewal dates for the plan. So January 1st is a big date for benefits renewals. I think of something about 60% of eligible health plans are renew on January 1st. That has started to change a little bit. It used to be about 75%, but January 1st is our main date. That being said, we do have other effective dates as well for this plan. You can enroll at any time, whether you want a February start date or March. You can enroll anytime throughout the year, but depending on the time you start the plan, you will have a different renewal date. Just for example, if you say we start in July, your renewal date is going to be that May 1st. So the May through August start dates renews May 1st. They kind of just Anthem wants to spread out, not having all these groups renew at one time to easing the burden on them and for yourself as the group and us as brokers to kind of make sure we are doing a full shop each year with the right plans. We have time to talk to the employees, that kind of thing. So January 1st is the busiest date, but is not the date that we would have to make that change or look at for benefits. That being said, though, the plan details will run on calendar year. So that being deductible and maximum out of pocket. So everything resets January 1st of each year. Deductible goes back to 0, out of pocket max goes back to 0 for what you've met, regardless of when you start your plan. So if we started a plan on May 1st, we're still going to reset on January 1st. Now, each year continuing, it'll be that full 12 months, but those mid-year plan cycles, we will have a reset date on January 1st. So I'll move over kind of a few more plan details. I don't like to list all the plans Anthem has, but just that's too much in the weeds, especially for a high level view like this. But they do offer 18 different plan options through the MIWA. They have about 6 HSA eligible plans, 10 copay first plans, which is going to be your most common, where you'll see $30 for primary care. And then they have 2 HMO plans where they're cheaper rates, but it is a very limited network. So they do try to get a wide variety of plan offerings. You can offer multiple plans if you want to keep the premiums down, but they try to get a wide offerings just so you can see what change of the deductible or change of the plan type will do to your premium. There's also discounts for dental and vision coverage through Anthem. Independent renewal. So this is a major one. One of the first questions I do get is, okay, since we're part of this big pool, what if the pool runs bad and say it's at a 20% loss ratio, something like that? Is my renewal going to be 20% because that's what the pool is at? That's not what's going to happen. So each group within the MIWA will have their own renewal. It'll be based off your claims experience and then the aging demographic, essentially. So if you have a great year, not many, we hope for everyone to have a great year. No one's going to the hospital, no surgeries, that kind of thing. Your renewal will reflect that. So the pool will cap your renewal. So if you do have a major year, they're not going to hammer you with a high percentage increase. You'll have a higher one than someone who didn't have as bad of a year, but each group will have their own individual renewal. That's a major question I always get. Is the renewal going to be just one bulk renewal? And the answer is no. Dependent age up to 26, which is standard for Ohio. Then, as I mentioned before, sole proprietors doing business are eligible. Obviously, it would just be yourself on the plan, no other employees, or you wouldn't be a sole proprietor, but they are eligible for the group plan with Anthem. That came about, I think, 2 years ago, back in 2020.
Scott, is
Yeah.
there a minimum on that as far as minimum number of employees for sole proprietors?
If you're a sole proprietor, it's just yourself.
Okay.
But the minimum for the Anthem plan overall is 2 employees.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Anthem really designed this plan for the under 50 employee size space, just because once the ACA was passed, a lot of these smaller employers were told that their employees had to go to the marketplace to get coverage. Well, the opposite thing happened. Some of these small employers, it was more of a family, like, we'll take care of you kind of deal. So we're going to offer benefits still. And Anthem said, all right, well, if you're going to offer benefits, we're going to be able to find you a better deal than what's currently out there in the marketplace. So the ACA was passed about 8 years ago, finalized 8 years ago in 2014. These MIWAs came about in 2016. So it was a quick process that Anthem and a few other carriers realized these small employers are taking care of their employees. Let's see what we can do for them. So as Dan mentioned, for the employer who saved $100,000 just by looking at this plan, that's not the case for everyone. I wish it was, and I would love to deliver that news and make my job a lot easier. But we do see about 10 to 15% savings from your current premiums on these plans. Now, before I get too far ahead of myself, if you currently have Anthem coverage, you're not eligible for this plan. So the way Anthem goes about it, they select, if you're currently with Anthem, they will select which groups would be eligible to move to the MIWA. They did that about 3 years ago, and unless things have changed drastically in your group, you're probably not going to be eligible to move. Now, that being said, you could move carriers to, say, Humana or United Healthcare for 2023, and then we could look at Anthem in 2024. Why Anthem wants to lose the business for a year just to get it back, I don't make the rules there, but I'm just here to convey it. So that about wraps it up for me. Now is a great time for questions. I'll put my information back up here. If you don't want to ask questions, in the group, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to meet in person to get a coffee, grab some lunch, meet you at your office, whatever works best for you. I can be readily available. It's always my favorite part, waiting for questions.
They're so quiet today.
Well, I just want to say thank you for the information, because I might actually reach out to you. So I appreciate you sharing.
Absolutely. And one more thing, people always ask me what my fee is. If you want to reach out and just get a quote from me, no fee. I'm here to assist you, and my fee is hopefully winning your business by providing you these great options. So it doesn't cost you anything. Even if you just want a quote to see what it's at, let me know, and I can certainly provide that for you.
And we will add your information to our website too, Scott. We probably have Kelly on there, so we'll update that with you. So if
Probably
anyone
do.
visits our website, Scott would be your contact person.
Great. Thank you, Laura.
All right. I don't have any questions online. So thank you, Scott.
I
Lots
have
of great.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
I'm
Dan's got a
hesitating
question.
asking it because it's kind of unfair to put you on the spot, but I'm going to anyway.
Let's hear it.
Sole proprietor, does
Yep.
the business have to be set up as a sole proprietor, or could it be an LLC?
Nope.
Okay, so if
It
they have
has to be set
partners,
up
they
as-
can't do that, even if the
Correct.
partners aren't involved in the business.
Yeah, so this was a major pushback when the meals came out because they were very stringent on 2 employees, 2 employees, 2 employees.
Right.
Even though a lot of these sole proprietors said, well, you're trying to help small business. I'm
Right.
starting here. What do you have for me? So that's why Anthem allowed the sole proprietor. Now, I don't. There are ways, I'm not gonna say around it. There are exceptions that Anthem will make, but 90% of the time, it'll have to be set up as a sole proprietor, and that's the
Okay.
only employee there. However, there are always different circumstances, but I don't see very often Anthem making exceptions to that.
Okay, I just wondered because, we have members who, have silent partners and stuff like that. They're really not involved in the business, but the
Mhm.
business that can't be set up as a sole proprietor.
Mhm.
So, okay,
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that often, and I don't want to say we're making progress on that because, we started with just 2, we're down to sole proprietor. That is our next step. Anthem is, they've kept us in the dark on that, which can be
Okay.
a good or a bad thing, but I know it's been voiced because that's not the first time and won't be the last time I've heard that.
Then I have another question, which is, you can't predict the future, but
I don't have the Powerball numbers. I know it's delayed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you do, that'd be great. Do you think that there's going to be big increases this year in people's premiums? I know the past couple of years there have been, and do you see that continuing?
Yes, and the main reason for that is, I know it's an excuse for everything, but because of COVID. So what I mean by that, COVID was covered 100% regardless of health insurance. That's not the issue. What the issue was, people put off going to the doctor, getting necessary surgeries, that kind of thing during COVID. 1, because they were scared of going into hospitals for obvious reasons. 2, if they did have something going on, they thought it may be a COVID symptom, something like that. So they didn't go to the doctor for it. Well, these are starting to catch up now. The end of 2021 and this year, we have seen a higher than normal claims result for surgeries and other necessary hospital stays that we have in the past 5-year look back pre-COVID. So this year, I can tell you trend was about 15%, and trend is just the baseline where renewals start. Now, that's not going to be every group's renewal. Different factors go into that, but trend 15% is the highest I've seen actually since I know it's only 6 years, but since I've started in the industry. Typically, we see around 7 to 9% trend, which is fairly average, but 15% this year is high, and it's because people didn't get surgeries and necessary visits they needed in 2020 and 2021. And that's catching up to us now. And it's going to unfortunately increase premiums again, which is my least favorite news to tell people. Now that being said, there are some options out there in the marketplace outside of health insurance, some additional add-ons that are becoming more popular with smaller employers, mainly because it's going to be a benefit to the health insurance by not going through health insurance, if that makes sense. So a lot of supplemental plans, like hospital indemnity, if you are in the hospital, it's going to be a $10,000 check to you, which will help pay for those health benefits, and try to keep those premiums low. So there are additional avenues for add-ons for people to build onto their health plan to kind of keep their own plan in check, for lack of a better term. So long answer to your short question, yes, premiums are going to increase, and it's going to be higher than I think what people have or are anticipating.
Good news.
I know. Let's end with that one, of course.
Well, it's always good to prepare now instead of waiting till later when you get that giant increase.
Right, right. Well, it's a highly competitive market as well in the insurance world, which is, it blows my mind, but United Healthcare and Anthem go back and forth each year on who wants to write business and who wants to take business from the other. And it's a game I wish we didn't have to play, but each year here I am. So, but Anthem is definitely our stronger option. Has been actually for probably 2 years now, but Anthem is, as I said, we're one of the top broker agencies in the state, and there's a reason for that. Not because we like them, but because they provide the best solution for our clients.
Just to kind of reiterate, no promises, but what we have seen historically is the savings that people get with our healthcare plan usually covers their chamber membership. So it at least does that. So they end up, saving enough money that it's a free membership, or, so the only thing that people don't realize, which is a good thing to let people know too, if you are on the MIWA, you have to retain your chamber membership, or you also jeopardize your health insurance.
That is correct.
So
if you just join the chamber just for the MIWA, then you don't renew, you'll be hearing from me, because Anthem will let me know that you are no longer eligible, and we have to get that membership re-upped. So happens, some things happen. Obviously, not every time people are doing that to be sinister, but it does happen. And Anthem is very quick to let me know. So.
And we do have members that it's worth their while. The only reason they have joined the chamber is to get the benefits. So
absolutely,
we're actually fine with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and for it, to Dan's point, it definitely, most cases, is going to more than pay for the chamber membership. Especially once we factor in if you are trying to hire and retain employees. I mean, it's hard to quantitate that cost, especially of hiring new employees. So having a benefit plan like this, which I know sounds a little cliche, but having a strong benefit plan has helped a lot of my clients keep good employees and hire people they're going after. So if the chamber can also provide that, it's a great option.
Definitely. If you have any questions, just contact us here at the chamber. Our website is hamilton-ohio.com, and you can email either Tiffany or Laura, and we will get you connected and get you with Scott or wherever you need to do to get more information and how much you could save, because every member that we have that's in the benefit plan, they are saving more than what their membership is. And plus, then you just get the additional benefits of being a member, being connected, and all the other benefits. So we were happy to talk with anybody.
And
All
just remind everyone, this will be on YouTube. If you want to refer to this or send to somebody else, I had somebody text me actually during the presentation, can they watch this later? So yes, you can.
Yep, you can watch it on Facebook. All of our coffee and conversation videos are on Facebook for eternity. So you can go back and check those out at any time, or visit our YouTube channel and use that as a resource also.
Eternity is a very long time.
Fantastic. I love to
Be there forever. All right. Any other questions?
And then Kyle, and I believe Megan, you answered the second question, correct?
Yes, Megan had the second question. So I've got their contact info. I'll email that
Perfect.
to you and you can get in contact with them.
Perfect. That'll work.
All right, so we'll be back in a few weeks. We're actually going to do the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So we'll be have Brian Nicely with Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park and Museum sharing about art in Hamilton. So I'm excited to hear about that. So that's Tuesday, November 29th from 9 to 10.
Fun fact, I'm sorry, Brian is a client of ours, of mine actually, so.
Yes, yep, all those little nonprofits, it's good to have some extra resources. That's definitely a benefit. So, all right, everyone, thank you very much. We will see you in a few weeks then.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thank you
great
so
day.
much.
Bye.